Welcome to RhapsodyCast, episode 11. I'm Matthew.
And I'm Nate.
I don't know, what else do we say here? I don't remember. How do we podcast, Nate? It's been a while.
Yeah, no, it hasn't. It was 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It feels like an eternity.
Okay.
I hope it's not as bad for everyone else out there. I hope you're not sitting at your computer waiting for the 2 weeks. You need food. And working is probably important. Anyway, 2 weeks. We wrote some stories during those weeks.
Yeah.
What inspired you in your story writing here, Nate? Like, what did you draw on when you were not drawing but writing?
I drew this character, and I was like, yeah.
Did you actually draw this character?
I did.
Oh,
I drew a little sketch of him.
You gotta show me. Maybe put it up on on Twitter or the Facebook or whatever. I don't know.
I drew it and I threw it away.
Oh
no! I drew it at work on the margins of a notepad.
Okay.
And then and then I threw it away because that's what I do. And then that created the character for me. And I was like, okay, I know what his deal is. Here we go.
Did you actually do that before you had the character down? Like
way before. Like I accidentally drew this guy, and I was like, that's cool. And then I was like, and then that started to make a character.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. You got any other, inspirational deals?
Metalocalypse, probably.
Metalocalypse.
I love Metalocalypse.
True metal bards.
Yep.
Awesome. I don't know. It's hard for me to pinpoint where I draw on. I guess that's one of those weird things. It's like we got to have something here, but it's like I guess for some of the looks, I was thinking about I don't remember her name. One of the characters from the new 52, DC's newest comic book iteration. Newest being 2.5 years now. One of the characters from the second trade of Supergirl. A little bit of that character and a little bit of Lindsay Sterling, who's a dubstep violinist on YouTube. Check her out. Particularly the Skyrim video she did. She covered the Skyrim theme song. And then,
I know Lindsay Sterling. Yeah.
Okay.
Megan likes her.
Yeah, she's really good. I like her. But she does a lot of. She used to do she probably still does. She does a lot of covers of geeky stuff with dubstep and violins. But then also she has a lot of original stuff, and I've got without having paid for, but not illegally, because Amazon is really interesting with music now. I have her 2 albums, and they're really good.
Nice.
But I took a little bit of her look and a little bit of, I think it's the Silver Banshee is the character from the old DC, but she has like a human form in the new 52, and it's the human form, not the, murdery, evil form.
Okay.
A little bit of those 2 characters.
Man, I really want to get back into comics. Have I told you that?
You have many, many, many times.
Man.
I don't know, man. Dude, like, I love Cape books, but
yeah,
Marvel and DC are really,
I'd even just do it for the indie scene, man.
I've never been into the indie scene.
I've always been into the indie stuff.
I know, but, like, I don't know.
Have you read Chew?
Chew, the first trade of Chew you loaned me and I read it.
Good.
And then you didn't loan me anymore.
I've got them. I've got a lot of them.
Yeah?
I got like 5 or 6. They're good.
You loaned me a lot of things, and then I told you which ones I liked and didn't like, and then nothing happened from that.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Really? That was right when you and Robbie moved back to town.
Oh, did you gave them all back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you gave me one that was like, I want to say it was Frank Miller, and had like, it was like a hard-boiled detective. And,
that's the only thing I have.
And My Little Pony. No, I hated that one. That one was terrible.
Oh, wait, no. That was, you didn't like that?
No, I didn't like that.
Oh, that was cool. I like that one. That wasn't Frank Miller, though. It was like, Mark Miller or something.
Oh, maybe Mark Miller. It was one of those guys that writes really hardcore stuff. Also, you love me one that was like end of the world. Like the rapture happens, and then like one guy was like, "I'm gonna be the Antichrist because someone's got to be."
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
one was
Yeah.
actually pretty fun.
Yeah, I only got the first issue there. It was a
Ah,
Kickstarter thing, apparently.
oh wow, it was
Yeah.
pretty good. I would have read the rest of that. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's neither here nor there. Which is something I've decided is part of my vocabulary only while recording podcasts because I don't say that in the real world. I'm not here and therein, but every podcast that somehow comes up, it's probably because we get off tropic and it's tropical outside. We need to get back on that.
Ugh,
It's gonna be over 100 tomorrow, according to the heat index.
gross.
Yeah, it's gonna be all hot and sweaty,
Yep.
and then you have to go to sleep.
Yep.
This is the slowest podcast of all time.
Yep.
Let's get into some stories.
Yeah.
Let's tell some fantasy.
All right.
All right.
All right, my prompt was bards that I chose and fauna, which you chose. Fauna.
It's the different. It's different than flora.
Right. The title of my story is Battle of the Beards.
Beard battle.
More energy, Matt.
No, it
Beard battle.
actually just occurred to me that like you've had a number of really cool musical things in the past,
Yeah.
and that I'm now more excited for this than I was a bit ago. I remember Dubstep Dragon and what was the
Yeah.
other one? Battle Beard.
Yeah, Destruction Beard.
Destruction Beard. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Music Beard ascended the short staircase that led to the backstage area. He had been lucky to make it to his gig unseen since he was playing in Roogbrook, one of the largest city in Andermeyer. Men and women from around the world would do anything just to touch his world-renowned magic beard.
No.
He locked the door to his private dressing room and began to change out of his casual garb and into his show costume, which consisted of a tall blue top hat with an extremely wide brim that curled up on one side and a bright purple hat band, a nice blue suit with an ornate flowery design trimming the length of his suit jacket that reached the floor, and thick purple boots. He placed his monocle up to his eye, and around his neck he wore a bright purple bow tie, but since his beard covered the length of his torso, you wouldn't know it.
I've actually run into that problem myself. That's why I stopped wearing bow ties. Literally, because it's just like you don't get anything, you just get beard.
Yeah.
But this guy is pimping, and
Man.
possibly literally.
But he is stylish, man.
Yes.
But Music Beard liked his accessories. They gave him a sense of being fancier than he actually was, which was crucial for his stage image. He picked up his guitar that matched his suit in color and design and swung it around to his back. Music Beard's beard was the main attraction for the night. It was prominently white as polished pearls, with small black specks of hair scattered around in an unorganized fashion. The black specks were actually shapes of various music notes, no doubt a side effect of the spell cast upon him so long ago.
Ooh.
That's
a cool visual. Like his beard is like a sheet of music.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. He stroked his beard and waited to be called on stage. He never ate or drank before a show. He was already on the hefty side and was prone to overeating, and he hated feeling sluggish while performing. Sir Musicbeard, he heard a knock on the door. We're ready for you. Musicbeard gladly took the stage, and the crowd of millions roared. He had never played for this large a crowd before, but he already knew he wouldn't disappoint. You feeling good? His voice carried throughout the concert hall, and the crowd called back indistinguishably.
Woo!
Woo! I've got something special planned for you tonight that I think you will love. But first, let's get to some music bearding. Musicbeard raised his hands to quiet the crowd. Every audience member obeyed. Not a single whisper was heard. Musicbeard's beard began to glow in brilliant luminescence. Music poured from his beard hairs, shouting up to the heavens. To the heavens! A symphony of sound burst from his silken facial hair. The crowd went nuts. Hearing Musicbeard's face do was indescribable. He seamlessly mixed instruments and genres, and even was able to create impossible sounds unheard of by mere mortals. The sound was loud and raucous, but also pleasant and powerful. He started to sing. Hey, baby, won't you give me some time to hang out and totally have fun. Yeah, we're gonna have so much fun, baby. We're gonna go down to the tavern, play some darts, and maybe even split a nacho. Hey, baby, you probably think I'm lame, but I'm here to tell you I'm cool. But probably not the coolest guy you ever met. Yeah, baby, I'm second best. Second best in your heart. But you're second to none, baby. Second to none.
Dang, dude, he's humble and everything.
This went on for a while, and the crowd loved it. Hey, baby, you're gonna come over, and we're gonna catch up on some old episodes of Doctor Who. Hey, baby, you gonna have a real good time. Yeah, it's like the best show ever. Are you upset?
We gonna be plugging Doctor Who?
Well, it's a good show.
But this is conveniently timed, as this will air a week after they came back.
Musicbeard finished his song, and the crowd lost their shit. He quieted them once again and spoke. I found the lyrics to that song written on a stone while adventuring through a dangerous cave. Historians believe that it's a song from either millions of years ago or maybe even from another dimension. We may never know the truth. With that, his beard played a magical riff to punctuate his sentence.
I need that in my beard.
Now to get to that special treat I mentioned earlier. His beard accompanied him with light, upbeat music as he spoke. You probably missed the hell out of him. As he spoke, the music of his beard created a portal that formed behind him. But here they are, direct from the Death Zone. They are the former #1 band in the unknown universe, Destruction Beard.
Whoa, they're back.
They're back. Oh, retconning everything I do. Through the portal, 3 shambling zombie members of Destruction Beard walked on stage. First up, it's Destroy Your Face Off.
That's
on bass with his name is Destro.
Okay.
It's Destro, Yo Face Off.
Nice.
On bass and lead vocals, the crowd nearly died. Next is Killer You Dig on guitar. And finally, Senator Crudbump on drums.
Senator Crudbump?
On drums. And whatever else he decides to bang on at the moment.
Oh, shit.
The crowd flipped out. People started hugging and crying and dancing and singing and running and jumping and flying and rolling and digging and kissing and playing blackjack and clipping toenails and going to the store to get groceries and crying and drawing and learning how to speak another language and smiling and shrugging and looking at a fake watch on their hands and hailing a taxi service and other sweet stuff. Like I said, millions of people were at the concert.
They're literally doing every verb. I had a list, you hit them all.
Musicbeard hugged the members of Destruction Beard.
Hugged?
Never before. What?
Hugged?
Yeah,
okay.
He gave him a hug.
Show him some love. Gotta show the love.
Yeah, man. Exactly. Never before has this much talent had been assembled on stage at once. Crudbump started jamming out a sweet beat on the drums, and Destro slapped a delicious rhyme on his bass. You Dig played a power chord that nearly blew the audience away, and Musicbeard backed him up with a full symphonic sound blaring out of his beard hairs. Just as they finished their 90-minute-long instrumental, the portal spat out a giant creature. This beast bellowed through its gnarly teeth. It stood on 4 legs made of metal that transitioned into furry flesh, like a giant cyborg dog, but cuter and deadlier. On its back was a fin, and its tail had flippers for easy maneuvering through all the blood in the death zone.
What? Like the concert has it's like a mosh pit?
What?
Or is the death zone where it's from?
Yeah, he came through the portal from the death zone.
Death zone. For some reason, I was thinking... anyway, keep going.
That would have been a good... I didn't have him swim through the audience, but that would have been cool. The crowd thought it was the most metal-looking thing they had ever seen. "Oh no, we've let the Zaxxonopus out," Destro sang. "We better move or it'll crush us like a grape." The Zaxxonopus's legs converted to jets and it flew into the sky. "Men and women of the audience," Musicbeard spoke. "Lend us your weapons so we may smite the foul creature." With that, the audience threw all kinds of awesome destruction tools. Destro picked up an axe, You Dig a scythe, Crudbump a broadsword, and Musicbeard's beard fanned out into 4 sections, each grabbing a weapon. He was equipped with a bow and arrow, a mace, a bowstaff, and a shotgun. Musicbeard started playing a song that encapsulated the 4 musicians with a spherical barrier. It lifted off into the sky to meet the deadly foe. The crowd watched as the music gods battled the mighty beast in the sky as sparks and blood sprayed. The beast bit off Senator Crudbump's leg and devoured it.
Damn.
He stabbed Destro through the stomach and shot a net and tied up Killer You Dig. With the 3 incapacitated, it was all up to Musicbeard. His magic beard was powerful, but the crowd was unsure if he could destroy this foe and bring peace back to the concert. But Musicbeard had a trick up his sleeve the audience didn't see coming. He reached around his back and pulled around his guitar. He struck a few explosive chords that sent the cyborg dog flying straight into the air. It landed directly on the stage and died.
Dang, what?
The crowd erupted in adoration as the 4 showmen descended back and finished the show. It may have been the greatest show ever performed. Backstage, Musicbeard played a healing song for Destruction Beard, and they reassembled their parts. "Thanks, that was a great show," Crudbump said. "Same time tomorrow?" "Yeah, sounds good," Musicbeard said. And with that, the 3 members re-entered the portal to the death zone. "Good job out there, Francis." The giant Zaxxonopus wagged its flipper. "Thanks, you too. Same time tomorrow," it bellowed. "Yup." The end.
Oh, it was an inside job.
Yeah.
Just like 9/11.
Wow. Wow.
I'm just kidding. Mostly. No.
Oh, man.
Oh, he used a guitar. He had a magical beard.
Yeah, like his beard is really awesome, and then he was like, "A magic guitar!" Brow.
And then he had like a guitar taken straight out of the 80s because it could affect the physical world.
Yes, exactly.
I like
yeah,
it.
man.
Zaxxonopus.
What'd you think of Musicbeard?
I think I want to see him. You need to make that happen.
All right. Will do.
Yeah. Zaxxonopus, though, like, it's like half robotic, but it's like, do they all come like that? Or is he like one guy? Like, is he like, is there one Zaxxonopus?
Well, when he came out, Destro was like, "We let the Zaxxonopus out," but
yeah, so it could
maybe it's only the one,
like, because there's only one Loch Ness monster. You know, they can have and then you can have a creature that has a general name and then also a specific name because it's also called Nessie. So it's like, oh, it's Francis. He's the Zaxxonopus. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, man.
That came out from my beard.
Nice.
Mostly because my mouth's in my beard.
That is true.
And sometimes my beard is in my mouth. I think you've made a character who creates beautiful sounds, who's even more beautiful to look at.
Yeah. All right.
So my story, prompts being bard and magical shoes. I wrote unique shoes down, and in my head I always thought enchanted shoes. It's all the same, really.
Whatever.
Some
I don't care.
Some fantasy ass shoes.
I almost forgot to add in a creature.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's almost
like, oh shit.
Like, you know, like last week, I don't know if or last episode, I don't know if I cut that out or not, where I was like, oh no, what was my second prompt? Oh yeah, I used that. Okay.
Yeah.
My story is called Sandstorm.
Nice. Is it an actual real sandstorm, or is it just awesome music?
It's just the rudest story you've ever heard.
Turn down for what?
I didn't realize until you sent me that that's the song that they play whenever someone's a gangsta on Continue.
Yeah, man.
So it's like I've like, you know, I don't know if I've ever heard that song until you sent it to me, but I've heard that song, 4 seconds at a time, a million times.
Yeah, man. Like, I heard that song before, and then I was like, that's funny. And then I didn't know where it came from, and then I finally was just like, oh yeah, what's that one song? And then I like typed it in, and then it showed up, and I was like, cool.
Really?
This is the best thing ever.
So you found it through Continue, essentially.
5x5.
Oh, 5x5. Yeah, well, yeah. Same guys.
Yep.
More or less. Well, more.
Well, less. More.
Because it's those same guys, plus other guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's a plug for Continue. Because they
you're
need
watching
it and
this,
we don't.
Yeah. If you're watching this and you don't know about Continue, shame on you.
I don't know how it's feasible.
Yeah.
Continue is great, and we're this.
All right.
Okay.
What's your story, man? Sandstorm.
Sandstorm.
Stand.
Don't say your girl's name.
Stanstrom. Stenstrom Center.
Stenstrom Center. We're locating ourselves.
Oh shit.
All right. Anyway. The noontime sun pierced through the window, easily breaking past the feeble defense mustered by the half-drawn curtains to fill the spacious and lavishly adorned inn-suite with warm, bright illumination. Annika's eyes peacefully fluttered open, then violently snapped shut. With a groggy moan, she pushed herself into a sitting position, the silky sheets melting away from her bare upper body. Propped up by one hand, she used the other to massage the sleepiness from her face. She was still tired and had a minor hangover, but all things considered, she couldn't really complain. Once she felt sufficiently awake, she leaned back on both palms and surveyed the situation she was now awakening to. This ritual had become one of her favorite aspects of her profession. Annika was a bard, a traveling musician and poet, and though performing in packed bars and crowded courtyards paid decently enough, she refused to pay for her rooms at local inns. Rather, she usually spent a portion of her earnings on drink and found herself in a multitude of different locales, and depending on how the previous night had gone. This was a far better than normal circumstance. The bed was enormous, and so comfortable it was a wonder she managed to wake up in the first place. Beside her was a large, swarthy man wearing just a mustache and a smile, the soft silken sheets barely covering him from the hips down. He was handsome and fit, his muscles quite apparent under his dark, sweat-glistened skin. Annika sighed, a bit remorseful she would only get one hazy night with this specimen of human physical perfection. She had spent nearly a week in Arborin, and though there was surely still money to be made here, she felt she had to move on, lest she stagnate here in this wild border town. Ready to begin her day, Annika swung her feet out from beneath the sheets and took a few unsteady steps, still shaking off the morning grogginess, and began slowly collecting her clothes and other personal items. As she trudged about the expansive suite, an ornate golden vanity caught her eye. She turned to glimpse her naked reflection in this large oval mirror. She was slight by every definition of the word. Shorter than average height, short, curly hair, thin arms that lacked muscular definition, smaller than average breasts, and even a petite waistline. As much as she lacked bulk, she also lacked color. Her hair was an unnaturally pure white for a human of her age. Her skin looked as if it had never seen the sun. Her eyes were a pale gray, and her lips were a soft grayish blue. Though she didn't have the alluring curves or hues of other women, she did have an adorably round face, and enough charm that she never found herself in need of company or companionship. Truthfully, she had woken up next to far less attractive women without a single regret.
Wait, you woke up next to women?
Yeah.
That's hot.
Like I said, she just she drinks the night away and then wakes up in a situation.
Right.
And just deals with it. She stood there, admiring herself in the mirror for a few minutes before she remembered that she was getting dressed. Loping about the extensive suite, Annika lazily collected her previously discarded clothing in the order she usually donned them. Naturally, her small clothes were first, then her stockings. She threw on her blouse, which was a cream-colored V-neck with sleeves that ended in frilly cuffs just past the elbow. After her top, she pulled on her skirt, tucking her blouse into the waist before clasping it about her abdomen. The skirt was of a knee-length style, but on the shorter bard it reached well into her shin region. It was made of a sturdy, studded leather that would offer some protection from light-bladed weapons, but wasn't armor enough to stop anything fatal. Next, she wrapped her leather corset around her waistline. She didn't tighten it, as it would make singing or running quite difficult. Even without cinching her stomach in, Annika liked that it gave her figure pleasingly firm lines, plus the leather and boning should protect her vital organs from many forms of attack. Next, she strapped on her harness. Annika's harness was custom-made and by far the most important part of her ensemble. It started on her shoulder, with a burnished silver pauldron shaped and engraved to look like a turtle shell. From her shoulder, it snaked down her back to the harness itself, which was a mechanism she had commissioned but didn't fully understand. Essentially, it held her violin on her back, just enough of the neck peeking out over her unadorned shoulder that she could easily draw the instrument like a sword. While empty, the harness could blindly receive a violin, holding it in place undamaged until the wearer needed it. At the hip opposite the turtle shoulder, a leather bag was attached to the strap. In addition to the shoulder strap, which was elegantly tooled with images of thorny roses, the harness also sported a belt which she kept loosely at the hip. Attached to the belt was a leather sheath that she used to hold her bow. Finally, Annika sat on the corner of a bench and slipped her shoes on over her brightly colored stockings. Though not as dear to her heart as her violin holster, her shoes were by far the most valuable possession she owned. Made of soft, supple leather, and lined with even softer white fur, the shoes came to 2 points, one at the toes and one behind the ankle, a V-cut along the top giving a third reverse point, as well as a view of the top of her foot. The footwear looked uniquely elven of design, because they were of elven make, and as elven craftsmanship was long and magical process, these shoes naturally had some enchanted properties about them. These qualities include slightly heightened speed and agility, a much quieter footstep, and, most importantly, they allowed her to walk great distances without sore foot or blisters. As bards usually have a flair for the dramatic, she had named these shoes the Swift-Soled Slippers. Her outfit fully assembled, Annika gave one last look at her companion of the previous night, his chiseled chest lightly adorned with soft black hairs rhythmically rising and falling in his deep slumber. Before crossing to the door, she checked her reflection in the mirror once more. She ran her fingers through her hair. Short and curly, her hair had a look that was half bent spikes and half wildfire. She blew herself a kiss with her cold blue lips, then said, "Go get him, sexy beast," before departing from the lavish suite. As Annika descended the stairs from the 4th floor suite down to the more familiar tavern area, she found the barman, Brond, wiping down his counter. As a traveling bard, she had spent a good portion of her life in bars and taverns, and though the cleaning barkeep was common enough to be cliché, when Brond wiped off a thing, it usually came out cleaner.
when he wiped off a thing.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's a thing. Like, it's so cliche when the bar keeps wiping down a cup or wiping. And it's even
Man.
more cliche to be like, he wiped down the cup, but it was still pretty dirty when he poured the beer in it.
Yeah.
Brond, he fucking gets that shit clean.
That's awesome.
He cares. I mean,
I like this guy. I love clean people.
You like cleanliness.
I do.
It's next to godliness, I've heard, but not in my world.
Okay.
Because the gods are dying.
Oh. And they're leaving a mess all over the place.
Oh, I feel like that's the racism towards dwarves, like, because like when the god Rourke died, his blood created the dwarves. It's like, the gods are dying, leaving a mess everywhere. Like, is that supposed to be about me? I don't know what you're talking about, dwarf. Get out of my face.
I'm not. What are you, Bloodman?
Yeah, get out of here, Rockbeard. No one cares.
I hate Bloodbeards.
Oh, racism.
Fake racism.
Fake
is
racism.
Hilarious.
It's funny because real racism is sad.
No, it is.
It's barely past noon. You're up early, Brond noted as Annika approached the bar. It's about time I made tracks elsewhere, she explained. Figured I'd settle up before I left town. Your tab's clear. No debt here, the barkeep told her. She wore a look of surprise briefly before it melted into a thankful relief. But if you're keen to head out, let me offer you some of yesterday's biscuits before I go donate them. He produced a lumpy burlap sack from under the bar. When it landed on the counter, it made a sound distinctly harder than biscuits should. Though the bard had bought some provisions for the road, she never bought enough and also couldn't turn down free things. She stuffed a few handfuls into her hip bag, then gave him a warm smile. With one last thank you, she turned on her heels and left the inn. She stepped out into the stark noon sunlight, her shoes kicking up small puffs of dust as she turned and began her journey northward. Annika didn't know which town was in that direction, and as she walked through the streets of Arborin, mindlessly chewing on a biscuit that was clearly more than a day old, she didn't care either. Planning wasn't her strong suit, and wandering was her wont. She'd find a town, perform for food or drinks or a room, then move on. Her life was pretty great, but sometimes she longed for more action, more adventure. All she ever encountered on the travels were highwaymen and bandits. It was still a little exciting, but she wanted more. Orcs and dragons more. The piercing scream of destiny broke her daydream short. Well, not the actual scream of actual destiny, but some poor woman. Annika was determined to help. Casting the biscuit aside, the bard took off in the direction, aided by her magical slippers. Deftly she wove through the crowd that frequented the dusty trail, many of whom hadn't even turned towards the cry for help. As she neared the origin of the scream, a wave of terrified townspeople came crashing through the road, knocking into each other and trampling anything in their way, like a stampede of wild animals. As they closed the gap, Annika listed to one side. A small leap in her next footfall found the back of a cart. The next found the top of a barrel. The following three were made in rapid succession all along the wall above the cart, the last springing her over the crowd and back onto the street. A short jaunt later found her facing an obvious problem. An ogre smashing his way through the houses that fringed the frontier town. Ogres are large, semi-sentient beings capable of massive property damage and usually angry enough to inflict it. They range between 10 to 15 feet tall and have muscular arms the size of tree trunks. Their skin ranges from dark ash gray to lighter grays, sometimes with a tinge of green. Massive, bipedal, gray, and able to manipulate crude tools. It was no small wonder folks commonly referred to them as a cross between humans and elephants. Over twice her height, and with arms nearly as thick as the tree trunk he was using to raise a small wood shack, Annika guessed he was a bit bigger than average. A quick glance let her know the street was deserted, no bystanders to worry about, and more importantly, no witnesses. She didn't like being observed when she used her familial gift. Grabbing it by the scroll, the bard pulled the violin off her back with a soft pop as she drew her bow at her hip. "Hey, you big ugly!" she yelled before slipping her well-worn instrument under her soft, round chin, the darkness of its brown stark against her milk-white complexion. She started playing a spirited, lilting tune, eyes focused on the massive beast as she bounced and jaunted about his feet. The ogre watched the beautiful musician amble about. At first he couldn't wrap his head around the idea. Music, dancing, beauty. After a bit, he determined to wrap his makeshift club around it. He brought the tree trunk down where she was, in the middle of the road. With the easy grace of an elven gymnast, she threw her body into an aerial, deftly dodging the devastating downward blow. Slowly, she swept herself backways and sideways, slipping away silently, save her song. Focused fury from a ferocious fighter found ground free of female bards after her front-flipping forward roll left her aft of the furious elephantine.
That was some alliteration.
It was actually assonance, or consonants. It's like alliteration, but it can be in the middle or end of the word. It's a mixture of alliteration and rhyme.
That was nice.
It's the thing I'm gonna do. Anytime Annika's fighting and she's playing music, it's gonna get more poetic.
That's cool.
Yeah, dude. I fucking love this.
I dig it.
I love this character so much.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I started out like I kind of like this character. By the end of this, I was like, damn.
Damn. She's like the closest thing you have in your universe to a superhero.
I don't know, man. Cassandra's pretty amazing too.
Yeah, but she's just all power. She's got like magic, dude.
Yeah. She stopped playing when she slipped between the beast's legs, granting necessary confusion while she drew on her family inheritance. Annika drew in a massive breath, cold filling her lungs, then spreading outward in tendrils, icy fingers that gripped her heart and stomach. Her pain would be momentary, while the ogre's would be a fatal eternity. "Get back!" cried a voice from somewhere beyond infinity. Another creature, as angry and ferocious as the giant building destroyer, crashed into the tree trunk wielder and began a deadly assault. The two were a tangle of sweaty, muscled flesh. Annika couldn't make two creatures out of them until a violent blow did the work for her. A man, barely clothed and barely armed, was expelled from the fracas, bouncing to a bloody heap in the dusty road. The ogre wasn't without wound, though. Apparently the man's short sword had taken a number of sizable chunks out of his foe in a very short time. Before the ogre could recover from the first attack, another befell him. Arrows flew like the fluffy seeds of a dandelion, numerous and spread out as they battered and bit into the gray flesh. The bard turned to see this new combatant. Next to the fallen man stood a female elf, a dark cloak billowing out from behind her as she notched and fired arrow after arrow. A third member of this party, a dwarf in enameled armor, sat on his knees beside his bloodied friend, praying from a large iron-bound gilded tome. Last rites on the battlefield, Annika sadly noted. To her surprise, however, the man got up, and under his own power even. He stood for a moment, majestic and intimidating, though badly injured. He held a short sword with a broad blade in one hand. His other was little more than dangling hamburger at his side. Other than impenetrable pride, he wore almost nothing. His head was covered in a large helmet with an elaborately sculpted face. Around his waist was a leather kilt that looked suspiciously similar to her skirt. With an angry war cry, the gladiator charged at the big gray pincushion. Annika could see she was not needed this fight. Slowly, carefully, she released her trapped air, the cold breath making fog in the warm humidity. She resigned to return her instrument to its harness and folded her arms over her chest to watch the show. As the beast fell with a death groan, she trotted up to the gladiator, locking step with him as he headed towards his dwarven companion. Blood oozed from a dozen wounds all over his body, and every inch of him was slick with sweat. "That was pretty impressive," Annika stated. "You're welcome." He said it coolly. Somehow his voice was even, though his chest was heaving. I'm sorry?" She was confused. "I was thinking thank you, but an apology will do." Thank you? For what?" "Saving your life." He said it so indifferently, not a pause in his step. "If you don't remember, the ogre was about to crush you, and you were transfixed, probably with fear." "Fear nothing," she growled. "I had him. 2 more seconds and he'd be gone." "Sure. What were you gonna do? Sing it to death?" He was practically laughing when he spat out the last bit. "Well..."
What a dick.
Yeah, dude. This gladiator, total asshole.
Don't like him.
"Well, yeah, it's sort of." She trailed off. They walked in silence the rest of the way to his friends. When they were all together, the dwarf began inspecting the gladiator's wounds. The dwarf heaved a heavy sigh, then placed his hands on the bicep of the broken arm. A glowing light poured out of the various holes in his flesh as they slowly began to seal. Annika was impressed. Wow, it's not every day you see a cleric powerful enough to channel divinity and heal the injured. Yeah, the dwarf said, pride echoing in his words. But only so much. The light faded, and though many injuries remained, the disfiguring or life-threatening were now just gruesome gouges in the taut, muscle-filled flesh. So, Annika started. No, the gladiator cut her off. What? I didn't even say anything. We're not looking for new members right now. Why not? She pouted. I can hold my own in battle. The gladiator flipped his mask up and stared hard at her. It was far more intimidating than the ogre, or even the shadowy black eyes of the mask. No, he stated simply. He turned and started walking back towards the center of town. His companions turned to follow, the dwarf offering an apologetic look before leaving. Crushed, Annika sat down on a mostly destroyed wall portion. She was very rarely turned down from anything and did not take it well. She reached into her bag and pulled out a hard biscuit and a small glass jar. If she ever needed a reason to self-medicate, rejection was probably it, though honestly she never needed a reason. She crushed the center of the biscuit in, making a small reservoir. The snug cork removed easily and without mess. Carefully she tipped the jar over, oozing the liquid gold into its new temporary home. Using her thumb, she wiped away the excess before returning the jar back to the bag. She plunged the sticky finger into her mouth to clean it off. A moan of pure bliss escaped her involuntarily as her tongue absorbed the sweet, gooey honey. Her eyes clasped shut in pleasure as she sat there, suckling her thumb like a newborn babe. She removed her cleaned finger, drying it off on the front of her corset, then greedily bit into the biscuit. The sweet honey turned the stale biscuit into a delicious and satisfying meal. Between the flavor and her lack of a solid breakfast, Annika found herself devouring the treat in seconds. She was wiping crumbs from her face when she noticed an old woman approaching, her small, withered frame bent over her cane as she took each careful, determined step. I saw you fight that brute, the elderly lady said, her voice old and strained. The bard smiled a warm, genuine smile. I also heard your conversation with that fighter from Luschheim. Well, that killed her good mood. Annika sighed. I'm not too worried about it, she assured her aged admirer. In fact, I've already gotten over it. Have you now? The old woman wondered aloud. There was a brief silence before she confessed. No, not really. But at the next town, I'll drown my sorrows and worries and vice, and they'll be gone before I leave for my next sojourn. The old woman's eyes were slits as she studied the young lass, scrutinizing and sizing her up. Well, she began after a while, if you're honestly confident in your ability to slay that creature, I may know of another evil that you could vanquish. Annika tilted her head to one side quizzically, intently interested in the old lady's proposal. You see, she started, about a day's journey from town lives an ancient malignance in the form of a vampire named Oltak. The end.
All right. Gonna go fight
Oltak. Originally, the story was going to involve her going all the way to Oltak, but feasibly, that would have made that story about twice as long as it was.
Right.
And though it's not one of my longer stories, it's one of my longer stories.
Right.
It's like number 4 of the 11
right.
in length. So I didn't want it to make it number 1 by half again as much.
Right.
But that's cool.
Yeah, I liked it. I really like your character.
Yeah?
I really like your bard. I think she and Music Beard should hook up for a tour.
A concert. I think Music Beard is too big. I think a crowd of literally millions is too much. Like, I'm talking about, she plays
the bars.
Couple dozen people, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
She might go to like a king's courtyard, play for the king, or whatever. But I mean, that's still hundreds at best, or just 1 or 5.
Right. 5 important people.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all about who you know.
And I know Crackle.
No.
Oh, let's reference way cooler people than us.
Keep on wizarding.
Bard stories.
All right. Okay, now ladies.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't stop referencing cool people. There's so many cool people in this world.
Yeah.
That's why we have to make new ones in the form of fake people.
Right.
Fantasy.
Fantasy.
That was episode 11. If you are forgetful,
if you're new to the podcast, thank you
very much so. We have had maybe 3 people that have made it this far.
Yeah.
So if you've made this,
thanks, Kyle.
Kyle Podeswa, that guy from high school.
Yeah.
And mom. Thanks, Kyle, and my mom, who may have already stopped. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. So yeah, if you're listening, awesome. If you're not, I don't even have words for you because you're not listening.
Well, I don't know how you would have words.
But yeah, remember, if you forgot, this is the second to last episode. We're gonna do one more episode. I'm gonna take a short break, then probably come back late October. I think that's a good time to come back because then we get to come back with the Halloween episode, and that's always cool.
All right.
I don't know. I really want to do holiday-based episodes. I don't know about you, Nate. I feel like your 4th of July giving me fireworks, like I could not, like, I was happy that you did it, but I couldn't tell you how upset I was that we didn't manage to get that on the 4th of July when we had an episode releasing on the 4th of July.
Right.
Like, so, yeah.
Ooh, that's gonna be tough for me.
Halloween's on a Friday, so
I'm getting married in October.
Dude, like, the thing is that we'll record this episode and then we'll record another episode, and then you'll have a month and a half to get a story. No.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah, a month and a half to get a story written.
Okay.
Yeah, marriage. I gotta get fitted for that tux.
Yeah.
You jacked me on that, bro.
I didn't jack nothing.
We had plans to go together, and then you went not together.
We didn't. I don't remember that. Robbie and everyone else went alone.
Well, you and I have something special. Okay. Anyway, that said, a holiday is happening. This is actually releasing 2 days before Labor Day, which, I mean, is like barely a holiday. That said,
I get it off.
I get it off. Dash Nathan Crocker. Anyway, for Labor Day, I wanted to do one, but it turns out that this one's coming out on Labor Day almost. So I'm doing a post one like your fucking 4th of July fireworks.
Okay.
My suggestion for the prompt for next episode, like, like working men, like regular dudes. I'm going to say commoners, but you know what I mean. Give me a story about a commoner, a dude.
A Joe Schmo.
Yeah, regular guys.
A Chip Everybody.
Yeah, William Everyman. That's a comedian's joke. I don't remember which. But he had a... Oh, wait, no, that was a Family Guy joke.
All right. Family Guy.
Now we're referencing people that suck. Nah,
sometimes.
I'm kidding, Family Guy. You're powerful. Don't kill me. Powerful. Just like you did that dog and then didn't. And all those people got really upset, and like some dude got like a RIP tattoo, and now he regrets it, I bet.
Oh, sure.
Dude, who cares about a cartoon enough to do that? immediately after it happens.
I don't.
Like, even Kevin doesn't have, like, an R.I.P. Optimus Prime.
I'm sure he would have if he was 18 or whatever.
When the original Transformers movie happened.
Yeah. It's like, this is bullshit!
Megatron gets to survive as Galvatron, but
no!
God!
No!
He flips his laptop that's 8 inches thick because it's the 80s.
And he calls his mom on his
landline
cellular phone.
Yeah, on his car phone.
On his car phone or whatever.
Yeah, the 80s. They happened once.
And then he gets a floppy disk and like puts it in, and it's got one JPEG on it of like Optimus Prime with a big heart around him. It's like, I love you, Optimus.
I love you, Optimus.
I love you.
Optimus Prime, I can't quit you.
He's making reference to a movie that hasn't come out.
That won't be made
20 years
20
later.
some years. Didn't you know Kevin wrote Brokeback Mountain?
Yeah, no.
He's very pro-gay rights. He's very forward-thinking, being a straight man that's pro-gay rights enough to write Brokeback Mountain in the 80s.
When he was like 8 or whatever.
Yeah. I'm saying your roommate's cool. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he is. I think he is.
I do, too. Even if his
like
bed's squeaky while we're recording a podcast. And not like a sex squeaky, like a just hanging out squeak. I don't even care. I'm leaving that in.
Cool. He won't listen to it.
No one listens to this podcast. You kidding me?
What's that?
What? Yeah, exactly. Not even you listen,
right.
and you're part of it.
Yep.
Get it? Because you weren't listening to me. I was going somewhere, and then this got off the rails, and I didn't go where I wanted. I don't know, man. Like, if at the end of the season, probably before the end of the season, actually, because this one's, a little bit longer, and the next one will probably be a little bit longer. We're gonna have to start deleting episodes from our hosting because this is not ever going to generate money, so we can't afford hosting. So we're using the free hosting, and it's going to run out. But that said, all episodes...
Well, technically...
All episodes will remain on YouTube for free for forever.
Oh, sure.
In perpetuity. Yes. Trust me, they don't care. I've got videos on my personal YouTube account from like 8 years ago that are like dumb as shit, and they don't care. YouTube don't care.
Nah, so they got all that bandwidth.
They'll leave this up forever. So yeah, if you were like, if you just happen to jump on the bandwagon at episode 11, and you're like, what? Like, why does it start at 11? It's because I deleted 1 through 10. Me personally, because I'm the one who hosts or deals with the hosting of the Podomatic account. But yeah, so it'll be removed from Podomatic, which means it'll probably be removed from iTunes because that's how iTunes works. It doesn't store anything as far as podcasts are concerned. It'll be on YouTube. I'm going to have to delete episode 1 probably before episode 12 goes up, just so you know.
Oh. Well, at least that was the shittiest one I think we've done.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Episode 1. I liked your story, you didn't. No one liked my story, I guess. I don't know. I liked my story, you didn't. So
I thought it was okay.
It was you were like, it feels like a prologue, and that's what it was.
Yep.
For the whole podcast.
Yeah.
I'm making like jazz hands over here. This is the most physical I've been for this podcast. So you guys are really missing out.
Jazz hands?
Jazz hands?
That's the most physical?
Well, I mean, this whole recording, I've been doing a lot of physical things.
Oh, good.
Like,
that's good.
I've been yakking it up over here.
You ever watch voice actors act? They use their hands.
Oh, I bet. I've seen Mark Hamill do the voker, the voice of Joker on stage and stuff.
Yeah,
dude, he is so good.
Yeah,
so good.
We are not talking about anything relevant
ever.
We just keep on.
Yeah, dude, keep on keeping on.
Keep on
talking.
Listening to stuff
in the microphone. So, if you want to get a hold of us, we got a Gmail account. RhapsodyCast@gmail.com. We have Twitter @RhapsodyCast on Twitter. You could also just get a hold of us through the comment section on the YouTube videos, youtube.com/RhapsodyCast. On the Podomatic videos, RhapsodyCast.podomatic.com. I think that's the best ways to get a hold of us. We're also on iTunes if you want to give us a review. 1 star, 5 stars, no star. I don't think you can do no stars. 1 star to 5 star. Give us an honest opinion.
Only 5 star. We only care about 5 stars.
Wow. Yeah, dude. We care about 5 star. We don't care. You'll give us your honest opinion. But if you're like, man, I had 1 star, it's like, why are you listening? I mean, really.
Right.
It's like, but that's the thing. People care way more about getting out negative reviews than positive reviews.
It's true.
People like to hate on things. The haters. Don't be a hate. So, if you have anything to say it. Hell, we will review it. We will read your review. That said,
we'll review your review.
Holy shit, we have a review.
No
July 20th. I'm sorry, the Jables table for not listening. The Jables table was like, boom, 5 star. The Jables table, that's probably Kyle, right? He likes JB. He loves this podcast. It's original and different. Thank you, Jables tables. I would play a board game on you.
All right.
I'm gonna give us a 5-star review right now. Boom.
Really?
I'm just giving the clicky thing. I'm not writing it.
No.
So yeah, if you like the podcast, give us a review. Contact us. We're always accepting all forms of contact. Like, say cool things about us. Be like, hey, here's a prompt. Why don't you guys do this? Speaking of prompts, why'd you only do 1 prompt for the next episode? And I'll be like, oh shit, we only did 1 prompt for the next episode. Nate, what's the second prompt?
I thought I was getting off easy.
Oh. Like, do you not like the 3 prompt situation? I've been actually thinking about a dozen different things. Like, that's one thing I like about doing the seasons is like we can change it up a lot.
Yeah.
And have a reason to, rather than be like, oh, I'm getting bored. It's like, no. It's new season. It's new things. New fantasy.
What's the new way you want to do it?
Do you want me to talk about that right now on the podcast?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Your prompt.
My prompt, uniquely from you.
Clearly, I haven't thought of this yet.
Oh man, I've been thinking about it. I've been like at work, like, oh, that's a great prompt, and it's like, oh shit, I work on a conveyor belt and I can't stop the belt to write shit down.
Yeah.
And then I've just managed. I just say it over and over and over to myself until I remember, and then I forget half of them. I was giving you time so you could think something up.
Okay. Don't just say I'm looking around the room, but I think this is actually a pretty interesting prompt for you. Because it's something you like.
I like a lot of things. Better not be Aquaman.
It won't be Aquaman.
I know you
got Aquaman.
I know you got an Aquaman trade on your wall.
Yeah, I use Aquaman. No. Okay, so your prompt, your unique prompt is action figures.
Action figures. That's gonna be okay.
Work that in, Toy Maker Man.
Toy Makerman. Troy Makerman.
Troy Aikman.
Oh shit, that's a guy. I just made up a guy that existed.
Troy Aikman.
Damn it, football.
Damn you, Quarterbacks Club 96. For the PlayStation 1?
Oh, man. So I had 3 of them that I was like bouncing around. Which one do I want to give Nate? Wow, this is one of my last. The simple townsfolk, like someone with a normal job. That was actually the prompt that I had written down when I had written down my original prompts. Like, these are ones I want to do. And I finally got around to it. And I had a reason. But yeah, I've been bouncing around 2 or 3 prompts in my head about what to give you. I'm gonna give you Frost Lord.
Whoa. Okay, so just to clarify, a Frost Lord.
Nah, I'm not
is
gonna clarify.
All right, fine. All right, I'll figure it out.
That's the beauty of the prompt.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Frost Lord.
Facebook, Tumblr.
Twitter. Oh, and then if you want to contact Nate or I directly, like, because you'll be like, maybe I like Nate, but I don't like the show, or Matt, or I don't like Matt, so I don't want to contact the show, so I'll contact Nate. Your Twitter is
At Adolfo Shabadoo.
and then mine is at Fridley Scent, spelled like the city in Minnesota, which everyone I'm sure is aware of. I don't want to spell it because that makes me sound like a dork. So, unless you have anything further to add, Nate,
Nope.
I'm going to say that was the free fancy for your earfolds for this episode. Peace.
Booyah!